Hi guys, I'm Ananya Panday and welcome to So Positive Season 2, sponsored by Bumble. Today, our guest is someone whose music finds you exactly when you need it the most. His songs have become the unofficial soundtrack of sitting in the car and staring out of the car window dramatically. Please welcome Anuv Jain.
Hi.
Hey, hi everyone, it's Anuv. Okay, so your music feels very personal and it feels very honest to everyone. Why do you think your music has that sort of connection with people?
See, I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't think I've cracked the formula yet. But I feel that, I've always been very honest with the people that listen to my music. I've always been very honest on social media as well. And I think that honesty kind of sort of translates into the kind of work that I'm putting out as well. I've never tried to hide a heartbreak, or I've never tried to hide love for somebody. I might just hide their names. But that's pretty much how it's always been. So I think it just comes from a place of authenticity. And I think people like that, and I think they resonate with it.
Yeah,
as well,
there's this very specific feeling in your music where suddenly everyone's like, oh, I'm so heartbroken on Marine Drive after listening to your songs. Like, where does this heartbreak quality come from? Because firstly, congratulations, you got married last year.
Yeah.
Has that changed like the, not quality, but the kind of music you're putting out there? Like, has it gone from like heartbreak and yearning to more of like stability and connection?
Okay, first of all, let me say this. That was oddly specific, like heartbroken on
I may or
Marine-
may not have
Drive.
done that to your songs.
Okay, so listen, if you have, I have too. Okay, so I think we've found something common, which is great. Yeah, getting married was like such an amazing experience. And it's been so amazing. Like, it's been a year now, and it's been like the best thing that's happened to me. I've literally found like a best friend that's with me like pretty much all the time, which is like amazing. But the thing is that, dude, I feel that I think marriage is such a beautiful step, and it's such a big step in your life. I think that maturity comes in, I feel, a little bit more. So initially when I was writing about heartbreak and, you know, that confusion that you have when you meet somebody for the first time and, you know, etc. Now I'm talking about things that are a bit more stable, a bit more solid, and I'm talking a lot more about love and, you know, being in love and,
What that
you know, that
feels
kind of
like.
a feeling.
Yeah.
I think
So your emotional vocabulary
yeah,
has
I think my emotional vocabulary has changed. It has become a lot more mature. And I think it comes from a place of stability now. so
But I
far.
feel like right person, wrong time is such an underrated like love story
Yes.
thing that people don't talk about, because it is important, you know, sometimes. And like also another cliche that we don't talk about enough is first impressions, because like there's that whole trope of like hate turning into love, and like, you know, people have like a certain impression of people, and then later on when they meet them and get to know them, that impression like fully changes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you what your first impression of me was, because we've met once before this.
Yes,
So what
yes.
was your impression?
Yeah, okay, so when I met you for the first time, obviously we can't talk about that right now.
Yeah, it was a secret project.
It's a secret project. But the first time I met you, I thought you were very open with your team. Everybody just liked you, and
That's so sweet.
like
I
the
feel
entire team like that you were working with, and I don't know if I'm like oversharing.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, okay. But everybody that you were working with seemed to like really like you and like being in your presence.
Thank
Since we're being positive, right? Like, let's just.
I'll
go
tell
with
you
that.
my first impression of you,
Yeah.
which is actually my second impression of you also, but you're just very easygoing. Like, you're very easy to talk to, and it doesn't feel like I've only met you twice now. It feels like,
Yeah.
oh, like I've known
Yeah.
you, and like, oh, Anuv, like it's easy to talk, it's easy to joke, and you're someone who loves to laugh. I've noticed
Yeah.
that. Like, you really like
Yeah,
laughing.
I like
you
to-
say something and then you will only giggle at your own joke, and I
Okay.
love that, because that's so like, you know, I love that energy.
That's new. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's Lisa told me that about you also,
Oh, shit.
actually,
Now
and I
I'm gonna be
noticed
so
that.
conscious about it. I'm gonna stop laughing.
But it's amazing.
No, I'm
you
joking, I'm
can't
joking.
stop laughing. Okay, but in general, like, what is something you notice about people when you meet them for the first time? Like, for me, actually, someone who makes me laugh is a really big thing. Like, I really like. I gravitate towards funny people.
Okay.
I gravitate towards people who can teach me something that I probably don't know.
Okay.
So what is something like you would notice about people in real life and then online?
First thing that I notice about people is their energy and how full of life they are. I've spoken about this before as well. I can be a bit of a pessimist, okay, sometimes, and I can be like a bit of a I mean, I can be a bit sad at certain points. Like, even though, like you've mentioned that I like to laugh,
Yeah.
but I think that's just masking, like the sadness that's hidden in my heart. I don't know. But I think that's something that I noticed for the first time. I like how happy they are, or how like they are looking forward to the next day. I think I love that about people, and because that makes me want to do that too. So yeah, I think that's something that I would say.
So that's in real life. But honestly, like a lot of people don't get to meet for the first time in person a lot of times. Like
Yeah.
it's very different to, make an impression with someone that you meet online versus offline. Like if I had just met you on text, which you're very bad, by the way, I just want to put it out there. Anuv is a horrible texter. But I texted him and he took like 6 hours to respond to me. And because I'm such a fast texter, for me that was like, oh my God, like does he hate me? Does he not want to talk to me? Because I overthink everything.
Okay.
So that could have created like, a bad online impression.
Okay, wait. Let me just cut her. I was traveling. I was in Nepal yesterday, and I was in a 3-hour, 4-hour long flight.
Convenient timing.
You texted me at the time. It's not my fault. Anyway, go on, please.
No, so that could have caused like a different, impression that I had if I'd not met you in
that's
person
true.
before that.
That's true.
So what are some things that you notice about people online? Like, is it their bio that makes you laugh, or is it like a picture that you see first, or like what interests they list? Like, what is it that would be interesting to you?
I think authentic would be like the word of the day, probably. I just like authenticity. I've never really been a fan of like very curated, feeds, because my feed is not that curated. I like to post like these dumps that I like, random things that I keep doing. So I've always liked that in people as well, because I've always preferred that you see their photos and you get to know about a little bit about their life, not just like the perfect bits, but also like what their interests are, like.
So like more intentional rather than curated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something that just comes naturally. Like they don't like something that's just easygoing, and they haven't really thought about it that much.
Or thought about like what people will think about.
Yeah, exactly.
them.
They're like, oh, this is who I am. I just want to like post about it. I like that.
Yeah. Like for me, like first, like before when I'd just started posting things, or like if I was creating a profile before, I would overthink everything. Like I would be like, oh, is this picture not nice enough? Is like my caption not funny enough? Like first, if you go back and see my older social media posts, my captions, I would spend literally like 4-5 hours trying to, like how you crack this joke, but I would think for 4-5 hours to find like the funniest and the most like, how will I attract someone's attention, or how can I say the most bizarre thing that will make people look at me, and at the cost of not sounding too much like myself. Like I feel like even long after I'd outgrown that aspect of my personality, like I'd naturally just grown up, I was still trying to hold on to this very outward, funny side, which was not naturally fitting in. So it felt actually more curated than intentional. Like now, even if it may be the most random thing, like whatever book I'm reading right now, or a funny plate that I saw, like something funny that my dog is doing, I feel like that talks about someone's personality way more than just like a pretty picture.
Yeah. You still feel that pressure though? I mean, I'm not saying that it's as intense as what it was earlier, but do you still feel that you still need to curate a little bit at least? Because you can't lie, like be honest about it though.
No, I don't. I
Really?
actually
Like, it's
don't.
out of your like...
I actually have started posting for myself, which I think is the best way.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
When I was like a teenager, I used to do that. So I've gone back to like my teenage self. Like there's this one like meme of Katrina from Sheila Ki Jawani where she's like looking at her cell phone screen and then she's like clapping for herself. That's me. Like I look at my own stories and I'm like, oh my God, I actually don't care about what other people think of my profile. I just want to make myself laugh, and I just want to, like impress myself in like the funniest way. But do you think like prompts and like photos and details help you understand anything about a person, because you're just meeting them online for the first time?
See, obviously it's not the end all, because you need to like have a conversation with someone. But I feel that for that initial, just so that you get to know that like that initial hit that you need, like okay, am I going to vibe with this person or not? I think it's important. I think it can work, like if you have prompts or like it can just give you like an insight into whether this person would be your vibe or not. And then obviously once that is done and that first step is like you're over with, then you're free to explore, man, like just like delve deep into their lives, I feel.
And I think that's why the tool that Bumble has, it just gives you a little help, it kind of just like helps you if you have like 10 profile pictures and you're kind of confused about which one you want to post or like make your profile picture, it'll just help you and give you that little advice. Like maybe your best friend would being like, no, this is the best one, put this one first. Or like he'll give you some help, you know, kind of writing your bio, and it'll just help you bring the best version of yourself out there, which maybe you're like kind of unsure if that's something you want to show the world. Speaking of prompts and first impressions, I have a game for us. Okay. So I'm just gonna give you a prompt and you have to instinctively reply with whatever comes to your mind, and you can't overthink, and you just have to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
I'll try.
So a green flag that I used to ignore.
Energy. I used to be like, what are you talking about? Like these vibes, energies, and all. But now I know that they're important.
Yeah. But a green flag that I used to ignore, I think, is someone who's busy. Which sounds weird, because when you're younger, you want someone who's just available all the time and is replying to you and love bombing you and constantly just like messaging and being there. But the older that I've gotten, I'm like, it's so attractive that you're talking to someone who's ambitious and has their own things going on, and then at the end of the day, you all can come together and then discuss everything. But then now someone who's too like available and constantly replying would give me the ick.
Can I change my response? That's
What?
I'm stealing it.
No.
I'm stealing it.
This is growth. We love to see growth. Okay. A toxic trait that you are working on.
I get really stressed out because of certain things, and like people around me, like my family, they get stressed out in return. So I'm trying to like get better at, you know, like just taking it easy and just like being calm.
Same. I get too stressed. Like if something doesn't go according to my plan, like even if one small thing changes, I freak out. Like if you see my notes on my phone, it's like I plan my day to the minute. So if anything like I can't go with the flow basically.
So you can steal my response, but I can't steal yours.
It's my game. That's the point. Okay. The moment I start losing interest is?
God, it's been so long since this. I don't know, man. Like, okay, the moment I start losing interest, I feel that when people talk too much about themselves, I feel it should be like a back and forth sort of a situation. Like you ask me a few things, let me ask you a few things. But if you're just talking about yourself, you're not interested in the other person, then I'm just gonna.
I feel like trust and like verification and all these things have become so important in this online age, you know, with like that's why I love that Bumble has photo verification, because it makes me feel safe. Like, okay, I can trust this person. But have you ever changed something about yourself to impress the person in front of you?
Okay, first of all,
you have a story. I want a story.
Okay, like, I'll tell you a story. But I feel that you're talking about the Bumble verification thing, right? I feel that everybody should have that, like on social media, just in general.
It should just be like a
basic thing. I don't know why they don't have it. But me changing myself, maybe like when I was a bit younger, when I was like trying to figure out who I was, maybe I did change. Like one day I would be like, okay, I'm just gonna be like a bit more mysterious. So I'm just, you know, like, I don't know, being a bit mysterious and not being that open. But I feel that like, as I've grown older and as I've grown up, and now that I've built like those good friendships, like you can literally like go through my Instagram and you will find like some 2,000 pictures, and if you scroll all the way down, there are pictures from 2012 because that's when I joined, and I haven't removed anything. It's pretty much the same thing. So, you know, I've always wanted people to know who I am and where I come from. And I don't want to change anything about myself, man. I'm a Ludhiana boy, that's where I come from. I have gone through the entire, you know, like this thing. I've worked.
You've had a story and a journey.
I've had a story, I've had a journey, and
I
I want people to see that. I don't want to lie about where I come from and who I am and, you know, what my struggles have been and
that's what makes you interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes me me. Right? And I feel that everybody should just like be that way. You don't need to like fake it, I feel so.
Like I remember when once I had liked someone, they were very like into all these like foreign films, and I'm this full like, you know, Bollywood obsessed person like who just watches K3G every possible day. So I felt like I need to be, you know, watching these like Swedish films and like some Polish films just to impress this person. But then I realized I don't need to already be watching this. We should watch it together, and they should show me what they like, and I should show them, you know, kuch kuch hota hai 100 times, and that comes from a more honest and real place.
Because bro, the thing is that, see, you can always like build new interests with people that you know already, like that you want to know, or you know, etc., etc. But it's not like you have to fake that you've already had an interest, because
Yeah.
that's, you
And
know,
it-
like
it
that's
shows
false.
eventually.
Yeah, exactly, bro. How long will you
Can
keep
you
it up?
keep it going?
How many
Exactly.
times will you like reference
Some movie, you'll
some
say the
movie
same
and
line
keep watching
again
it
and
every day?
again, I swear.
Yeah, but I get it, and that's, you should just be yourself, man, and like
Yeah.
you should be as honest as possible. But
Especially
always
in
be
the
like,
early days of dating.
exactly,
Because that's when all like the impressions are made
100%.
and you have to be your real, most authentic self. Because
100%.
otherwise it can go into like this endless loop of just pretending
Exactly.
and lying.
Exactly, but you should just not close yourself to like new experiences. Like you said, watch that Swedish movie, man, and if you
Yeah, but don't
interests you,
lie
but
that
don't
it's-
lie
don't
about
fake it, yeah.
Do like imagine, I don't really like coffee, okay, and my wife like loves coffee.
How do you like that?
See,
that's not a real thing.
See,
How can you
people
not like
judge.
coffee?
People judge.
But I don't understand.
That's why people fake it. I don't know. No, but I've never liked coffee. And imagine if I, just so that I could impress her, I would have spoken about, like, learned a bit about coffee, like
Yeah.
on, I don't know, some app or something like that, and just been like, oh, this, I have no idea how coffee
Yeah,
works, man.
yeah.
And it's fine. I tried it like once we got together.
And
I
it
did
didn't
not-
matter.
yeah.
It didn't like, she wasn't like, I can't date someone.
Exactly, but that's just like a small example. Imagine like what people like build like in the background, right? I don't think people should do that.
Yeah, they should just show up as authentically as
Yeah,
possible.
I guess so.
Okay, so if you had to give like one young person who's like making their profile tonight, okay,
Yeah.
if you had to give them one piece of advice, what would that be?
First impressions do matter, obviously. Like the latest impression is the most important one, but you need to like start that conversation as well. So like
and fun
but
pictures that bring
fun
your personality
pictures, exactly,
out.
that
Yeah.
bring your personality
Like, I
out.
wanna see what your friends
not
are like.
these like doctored, like
Yeah,
overly edited
filtered,
photos
yeah,
and all
yeah,
of that
yeah,
stuff where
yeah.
you're like, you know, looking on this, like be fun.
Fun, yeah.
And be respectful, obviously that's very important.
good one.
Like try to approach somebody. If you're not welcome there, don't like try to overstay your welcome, just
Yeah.
like just
Everyone
leave.
doesn't have to like you. You're not
Exactly,
coffee.
it's exactly like nobody likes everybody, like
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
not everybody's liked by everybody as well. At the same time, I would say that if you do start a conversation with someone, and if you're liking having that conversation with that person, maybe give them more attention rather than, you know, like dabbling in like a lot of like with a lot of people. I feel that because why would you want to like your brain would just get like divided.
focus your energy.
On like that one person if you've actually like built a good connection.
I love how we started this episode talking about first impressions, and then we realized that it's not about making that first big impression. It's about being as honest as possible and showing up in the most real way as possible, because honestly, that's what's fun and that's what's attractive and that's what'll create something more real and substantial, I guess. But this was actually really fun.
Yeah, it was.
Like our second impression of each other, I think, has been
it's been good.
honest and fun.
Honest and fun, yes.
So my So Positive homework for you guys is to go and check if your online persona is actually really honestly who you are, because the right people will connect with who you are, not who you're performing to be. Bye. Being authentic and showing your best self doesn't require AI photos or deep fake images. We want to see the real you. If you think you're being catfished or a potential match is using fake AI photos, make a report to Bumble's support team and they'll take a look. You can follow the status of your report and find more ways to stay safe in Bumble's Help Hub.